Good afternoon. I'm with Zayn Kalyn, CEO of Scorpio Gold. And Scorpio has had a transformational summer here in 2025, like many gold juniors, but Scorpio has really taken it to another level. So we're going to get into it with Zayn. Zayn, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Robert. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I think this is the first time we've done a face-to-face interview. So let's go back in time a little bit, and then we'll get into the recent financings and some of the new shareholders that you've got, aboard. So, just take us back a few months and set the stage for Scorpio.
Yeah. So I took over as CEO at the beginning of last year. Really brought a new team in, great kind of backing of investors, new technical team, and we've been really last year was a lot of kind of recapping the company, restructuring it, kind of working through some growing pains, cleaning up some kind of skeletons that Scorpio had in the closet, and primarily the main one being taking care of Mineral Ridge. And Mineral Ridge is a good project, but it also it's just a tough project economically, and the resource is relatively small compared to the amount of capex that's necessary to build it out. So to make a long story short, we really did see more value in selling it rather than mining it and putting it back into production. So we structured a transaction. We started looking for a buyer at the beginning of this year, or late last year. As everything does, it takes a little bit longer than you expect. But luckily and very fortunately, we were able to find a good buyer, and we were able to close that transaction at the beginning of last week. And really, we're very happy with what we got. It was $7.5 million US cash, $5 million down, $2.5 million over the next 12 months. And on the back of that sale, it really does position the company to focus on Manhattan. And that is really what all of our investors want to see. That's what I believe in. That's what our technical team believes in. It's what Leo Hathaway believes in. It's what everyone really sees the opportunity is with Manhattan. And the prize is big. And I think we see that there's a very clear path for us to be able to scale the resource that we're going to be putting out here in the next couple of weeks, scale that very aggressively over the next 12 months and get that to something that really stands out in Nevada. In terms of grade and recovery, Manhattan is particularly unique. It's north of a gram per ton. Historic recoveries, 4 distinct histories of historic metallurgy from production and modern network, show 90+% with a full mill circuit, and very high numbers from kind of initial, it's amenable to cyanide, and very high numbers from initial heap leaching. So all of that collectively, we think we have something pretty special. And then when you look at the property as a whole, there's so much opportunity to really expand that from, call it, this baseline resource that we're going to be putting in a couple of weeks to our target of 2 million ounces by the end of next August. And I think I can say that pretty confidently just with what we see. We have so much historic exploration. Over 1,400 holes are in this resource. We have many holes than that. We have over 1,800 holes in historic data, and just so much history and historical reports and historic resources for that matter. That the more and more I think the market becomes aware of this, especially now that we have the capital to really invest in it, it'll become even the opportunity and the ability for us to be able to justify multiples of even where we're trading today will become pretty clear.
Okay, yeah, that is a big goal you have stated. So right now, the expectations for the resource update are around 500,000 ounces. Is that right?
North of 500,000 ounces. I'm not going to say too much until the resource is out, and maybe we can touch base after that. But yeah, it's at least 500,000 ounces. And I think the market will be pleasantly surprised with what we end up putting out.
And then to grow to 2 million ounces in 1 year.
In 1 year, yeah. So we're planning at minimum 50,000 meters of drilling over the next 12 months between now and the end of next August. We might do more than that. Obviously, everything's usually capital contingent, but we're in a pretty strong cash position right now. And I think with the warrants that we have coming in, alongside kind of the tailwinds in the market, I think we can probably be able to scale that pretty aggressively.
Okay, so let's talk about the drill results you put out about 10 days ago from Manhattan into the gap zone. So 92.8 meters of a gram, or 1.24 grams per ton. That's a nice gold intercept. in the Walker Lane in this area, and especially in an area that has not been well tested. So tell us about the gap zone.
Yeah, so the gap zone is the historic property boundary between what we acquired from Kinross in 21 and the Gold Wedge Underground. So being able to bring that together, it is one of the areas that's low-hanging fruit. It's on strike. It's about I think it's about 200 meters wide, and it is kind of the target where we feel we can add, call it 200,000 to 300,000 ounces pretty quickly. So we've completed. We've done 12 holes this year. I think 6 of them are in that zone. Two of which we just put out are from there. So I think with that, we're pretty confident we've already established continuity of mineralization in that zone. With some additional holes, we'll be able to kind of further build that out, and then kind of it's very additive to the resource. And there's a couple areas like that are. There's an area between the east and west pit on the other to the south east of there on the other side of the Kinross West pit. That's another zone that's low-hanging fruit. It's never been connected, been very little drilling there. So we do see a lot of potential kind of to really flush out. There's a lot of target zones in the core resource area that we can be additive to. And that's really even just not even looking outside of that in terms of regional targets on either end of strike and then going even further out.
Okay, so the rigs are turning right now. Are they at the gap zone, or are they finding some new areas to test?
The rigs are turning right now. We're actually testing what's called the Mayflower Trend, which is just to the southwest of the West Pit. And that's another kind of underexplored area with some historic workings, kind of like historic mining. And then we're going to be moving the drill actually just to the edge of the West Pit, where there's some really great target zones that can be flushed out as well. And that's actually a big part of our core resource, but there's some gaps in there that haven't been filled out that we believe we can be very additive in ounces in the short term.
Okay, and let's talk about the new shareholders that you brought on board. So Ross Beaty, I don't think he needs any introduction, and you have Eric Sprott, so you've got like two of the legends in the mining industry as shareholders now. So how did that happen? How did that come about?
Yeah, so we obviously Leo Hathaway has worked with Ross for many years, 20 plus years, and that relationship really was how Ross kind of came to be aware of the story, and that definitely was a lot. Leo was instrumental in that, and really appreciate Ross's support. I think Ross definitely believes in Leo, and he's been very supportive of Leo through his career, and I think that's primary reason why Ross was got involved. And then on the back of that, Eric, we've been talking to Eric for over the past year about it, and just kind of letting him know what was happening. And I think the timing's right. Obviously, gold's kind of got some wind behind it, and it all worked out pretty well. So we're very fortunate to have both of them as shareholders, and we have a lot of work to do over the next 12 months to put that money to work.
Absolutely. So it seems to me, just knowing that Beaver Creek is next week, we're probably going to get some news next week. Is that fair to say, or is this going to be maybe a couple more weeks?
It's potentially next week. There's some things we're just working out. There will be drill results that are imminent. We have 10 holes in the lab right now. So those should be coming back imminently. So towards the end of the month. I can't commit to news next week yet, but we'll see. There's some things that we're just putting together and things we're finalizing on the resource. And then, working towards drill results every 2 weeks after, call it the end of the month, post the end of September. We'll just be consistent and continue to deliver results.
Okay. And I guess the final question, saying like the Walker Lane trend, I mean, this is an area of a lot of gold mining activity over the last 150 years. There's even been some new discoveries made in the last 20 years. Not too far from Manhattan. Tell us about this area of the U.S. and why it's so important for gold mining.
Yeah, well, obviously the U.S. or Nevada is the core of gold mining in the U.S. It's the number one gold producing state. And I think there's been a really big shift and turn back to the U.S. over the past couple of years. Obviously with the new administration and the focus on domestic production, domestic mineral production, and considering gold a critical, the U.S. considering gold a critical mineral. all of those things together, I think, really have turned this attention to Nevada, and we're very fortunate to be in a great jurisdiction where there's established rule of law, great economic kind of situation, and then beyond that, I think permitting and kind of support for the mining industry is really the winds at our backs there as well. So I think we feel very fortunate to be in that position. Nevada's consistently in the top 3 mining jurisdictions as rated by the Fraser Institute. I think right now it's 2. Last year it was number 1. So I think we're in a tier 1 jurisdiction, and Nevada's there's a lot of attention on Nevada. So
is there any thought to maybe acquiring some additional projects to grow larger, or are you just focused at what you have right now?
Yeah, I think we're focused on Manhattan right now. We just kind of got rid of Minnow Ridge, which was a distraction for us. I don't think we want to really get out ahead of our skis yet. I think we have a lot of work to do. There's so many targets. There's so much opportunity for expansion. We're constantly actually expanding the project beyond that. So I don't think we're not there yet. Maybe down the road. But what I'd say is, like, we have a pretty big prize with Manhattan. It's not like we're drilling greenfield targets blindly. Like, we have so much data that we haven't even gone through, and that there's still so much work to do. So we're feeling very confident with what we have, and there's no shortage of places to spend money and invest in at this point where we know we can be successful.
All right, Zayn, thank you so much for your time and the update on Scorpio Gold.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it.